And I do want a hunk of sausage. This is gonna be a huge bite, but here we go. It's actually burning my finger really bad. So we're gonna use the spoon. It's so good. So thank you, give me a second. It's kind of spicy. I was like, oh. So thank you for coming to my kitchen. I'm gonna get a little water. I don't do the eating on camera very gracefully. You know that? I'm like, I always wondered what it was like to like go on dates with me. I felt like, welcome to Rustic Joyful Food. I'm Danielle Cardis, and today we're doing one of my favorite things. I feel like soup is like a gateway to cooking. So we're making pasta fagioli. I'm gonna show you how to make it in such a simple and beautiful way. We're gonna chop some veggies. We're in this gorgeous kitchen, and I wanna tell you a little story. This woman that belongs to this kitchen, her name is Annie, and she was my very dear friend for so many years. She has passed away, but she's left this gorgeous legacy in her daughter and her family and her husband and her son. And we are able to be here in the kitchen cooking like the most inviting, welcoming soup. And that happens to be pasta fagioli. I've made this on TV before. It's gone viral. People love some sausage and beans and pasta. So the first thing we're gonna do is get started cooking and chopping. So in goes olive oil. And honestly, I feel like olive oil is really important. It's just like a seasoning. It's like a condiment, so I feel like you can't have too much. And then in goes our sausage. We've got mild Italian and some spicy Italian sausage. So go ahead and break the sausage up. Use my other hand so you can see me and I'm not blocking with my giant lunch lady arm. But you're gonna break them up and then turn it down a little bit, and we're just gonna brown this. And when you brown the sausage, this really neat thing happens. You're toasting the spices in the sausage. You're creating this caramelization, and soup is all about layers of flavor. And so if you can add all these layers in the beginning and get that sort of Maillard effect with the brown food, you actually are making your soup taste better. So it's really a lot of fun. I like to keep it big, nice big chunks, because as the soup cooks, they will break apart a little bit. So this looks great to me. I'm gonna turn this bad boy down just a little bit, as low as he goes, which buys me a little bit more time for chopping. Okay, so next up we're gonna chop all of our vegetables. I'm gonna shop behind me, which is so cute. But I wanna talk a little bit more about building your layers in soup, and also how important soup is. Like I have this little mason jar out here to remind me. Every time I make soup, we always take a little bit and we set it aside for my grandma. There's nothing better than giving food to people. I think that that's like a principle that I've lived by for as long as I can remember. Just drop food off. People are hurting and they're hungry and they just want to feel loved and cared for, and there's no better way than soup. Even if you're not a great cook, I promise you, we bought chicken stock. I mean, you don't have to make it. Do I love to make it? Yes, I love the jiggly, wonderful chicken stock. But if you don't make it, it's fine. You're buying all these sort of fun canned goods. You're popping them together and letting them sizzle and marry for like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then you've got food for a week. So next up, I'm gonna grab my veggies. We need carrots. And have you ever seen carrots this cute? I'm gonna get quite a few of these. And I'm also really big on using a recipe as a guideline. Like when you look at this recipe, when you go to the website, because you're like, I'm gonna make Danielle's pasta fagioli. What I want you to remember, if you don't have carrots, skip them. If you don't have celery, skip it. I wouldn't recommend skipping an onion because it adds so much, but like kale, it's not in the recipe. It looks so pretty here on the set. I'm actually gonna take some and we're gonna pop them into the recipe. And an onion, oh, I need an onion. I love to have produce on my countertop and it reminds me to use it. Like, oh, I've got to cook with that. I was watching a lady online the other day. I'm gonna move these guys over here. And she was talking about how she puts all of her condiments in the bottom of her refrigerator. And that way and then she puts all of her produce in the door, and then she remembers to use her produce. And I was like, this is genius. So we start out with our onion. And you want sort of a rough chop. I feel like bite-sized, but not super tiny. So I like to cut them in half and then just peel off this outer layer like this. And then just a nice big dice. I don't think you have to keep, I mean, there's lots of fun, tricky ways to cut an onion. I don't think you have to subscribe to any of that. I just kind of put them back into a pile and keep your fingernails like a little claw. That way you won't cut the tip of your finger off, which I have done before. It's so terrible. And then you've just got yourself a nice little rough dice. But I always find just doing things the way that feels comfortable to you in the kitchen is actually far more important than perfect technique that you see. So do the stuff that feels good, and then you'll cook more. And that's really the whole goal. We want people to cook more. When you cook for yourself, it builds confidence. It makes you feel good about yourself and your life. And you're saving money, which is huge right now. I feel like the cost of groceries is wild. And I love the smell of an onion. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, onion. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then we're going to move on to these cute carrots. Have you ever seen something so adorable? I cut the top off, and I'm not even going to peel it. I just want a nice rough chop. Looks so good. And if you want to, you can dice these. You can also cut the little tail off. Looks like a little mouse tail. I thought that ever since I was a kid. The mouse tail. These guys feel pretty woodsy. I mean, that feels pretty big. So all you're gonna do, take your little kale, you're gonna pinch and peel. So pinch a little leaf and peel, just like this. And then the tip is normally always a little tender. So then you can put that little guy aside, and we're gonna rough chop kale, and kale can literally simmer forever. And I just feel like he's gonna add this extra beautiful little oomph and greens to our soup. And this is how I get my kids to eat this stuff too. If it's been simmering for a while, they have no problem, and it's not like a textural thing, which is kind of cool. And into our cute little bowl he goes. And if a little carrot stalk gets in the soup, it won't hurt a thing. It just tastes like carrots. You can make pesto out of that too. Next up, we have some beautiful washed celery. And I always just work off of my celery like right off the top. I never take actual stalks off. I actually just start right here. And I literally chop down as much as I need. I want at least a cup and a half. Let's get that nice little tender bit. And then I take this guy and put it back in a bag, and into the fridge it goes. And I just work off of the stalk. I feel like there's no need to like take and peel, do all the things. So I literally just wash and try to wash. And then when you get to the bottom, this is where you get all your dirt, but you can rinse it off and it's just fine. Okay, so now I've got all my goods, and I've also got this gorgeous garlic paste. I love to whirl this up. This is like something that's staple in my house. We whirl the garlic and salt and olive oil up, fresh garlic, in the food processor, and then you're able to just add it throughout the week. And I don't know about you, this is 4 heads of garlic. My family will go through, I'm a cook. I'm gonna cook. We go through this in about a week, and I use it for everything, and then you just remake your extra fresh gorgeous. And I'm not into burned garlic or even browning garlic, so I just want to give them a quick little pop through. I'm standing back so I can get on my wardrobe, because this is the only shirt I'm wearing today, okay? So if you see little grease splatters, they're sticking around. Okay, we're gonna move this over here, put my garlic back. In goes our dried spices. Why do we do that? Why are we adding the dried spices to the fat? To toast them and bring out all their flavor. Chili flakes. We don't want to burn anybody's face off, so we're gonna just do a nice little pinch of that. And we also have the spicy Italian sausage in there. And then in goes the veggies. Look at that. Our onion and our carrot and our celery and our bonus kale. I've also got some fresh thyme that's going in. If you can get a hold of lemon thyme, I need you to do it. It's not lemon zest mixed with thyme. It is actually lemon thyme, and it is so good, so vibrant and gorgeous. You don't need to strip the leaves off. You can just fish it out when you're done. But look at that. And I don't know if you can see down in the pot, all of that stuff in the bottom of the pot is actually flavor. So you want that. Don't feel nervous like you have to turn it down. Let that bad boy sizzle. You want all those bits, and then you're gonna take your wooden spoon and you're gonna work those bits off. Like they owe you money. Yeah, your soup owes you money. I like that. I hope that makes it in the edit. I'm gonna give it like 5 or 6 minutes. We're gonna build up some more caramelization, and then we're gonna put all of our liquid in. We're gonna do chicken stock. If you don't have chicken stock, use water. A lot of people are scared to use water, but water's great. It's how you make chicken stock. Ooh. Crack this guy open. You want a can of diced tomatoes. In juice. Can you hear that? It's so good. And then you want some tomato paste and chicken stock. I'm gonna grab my little can opener because who doesn't want to watch me open a can? And you know what? This is actually really interesting. There's multiple ways to do this. Like I've seen kitschy weird things where you can like take the whole bottom off and then you take that off and you sort of push it all the way through so you can use the entire can in its entirety. It's just a little too tricky for me. Just pop it out. I think we're all gonna be okay if we use a spoon. In goes our chicken stock. I love this. It's so good. And in goes the next chicken stock. My sister was sick this week and I said, I'll just leave sausage soup on your door. And she said, I will allow it. You gotta give people soup. Makes them feel good. And this is it. This is all she wrote. You stir this all together, you break that tomato paste up. The tomato paste does two things. Tomato paste is really concentrated, delicious tomatoes. And when you cook them down, they make a paste, but they taste really good. And they add this sort of like almost tangy, intense tomato flavor. And as this whole thing simmers, it just gets better and better. And I'm sorry, but the Olive Garden could never. The Olive Garden could never with this. Look at it. It's like we're in Tuscany or France or like the French countryside. Thank you, Annie, because look at what she did. This gorgeous, gorgeous design kitchen. And then look at this. This is all it does. So we're gonna put the little lid on, simmer this for at least an hour. If you're in a pinch, everything is cooked. As long as the vegetables are tender, go for it. You can add the cooked pasta. We have some really pretty cooked pasta right here. We're gonna add when it's done, and the beans as well. I want the beans to sort of become part of the broth and get a little unctuous. So what we're gonna do is add our beans in. Any beans that you have. I wouldn't do kidney beans. I feel like if you have kidney beans, use them, but that's the only bean I would stay away from. Everything else goes, even a lentil. I love a little lentil. Lentils feel fancy, but they're just beans. In that goes. And then this is gonna cook, like I said, maybe an hour, 2 hours. And then just before it's time to serve, we are going to add our pasta. You can use any little short pasta you like. Only you know what? I would not use farfalle because I don't like it. I actually think that farfalle is the worst noodle ever made. The little bow ties. If you love them, I'm sorry. I just can't. So we're gonna, but now I feel bad. If you have a farfalle, you can use it. So this is looking beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's so good. You can let this continue to simmer, but I think we're ready to dish up. Bring him over here. Oh, in this beautiful pot. Look it. Oh my gosh, this is literally like heaven. So we're gonna season them up with a little salt and pepper. Only because I forgot to earlier. Just gonna be really real with you. This sausage is really seasoned. I don't get like no salt added in any of the tomato products or anything like that. And we also had salt in the chicken stock. So I think like that much salt sounds good. And then we're gonna do some pepper too. And isn't that just like therapeutic watching the little bits of pepper go in the soup? I don't know, I just think it's so cute. So this is looking good. And then we're gonna stir it up. Oh, it smells like heaven. You'd think that you were like a chefity chef when you make this. And I'm not into knives for bread. We got some gorgeous ciabatta that we bought at the grocery store because let's be real, we don't mind buying bread. If you can make it, that's incredible too, but I don't make bread. I mean, I can make regular bread, but the sort of tricky stuff, sourdough and all that kind of stuff, I'm not really into. I'm into eating it, but now we're gonna do a little bit of cheese. And then we're going to plate it up. And I love the Parmesan in sort of like bigger shreds. One other thing that I love to do, I love antiques, and I feel like you just have to use them. This is so fun because it's vintage creamware, which is like from the 1800s. It's incredible. This belongs to Annie. This is like Tuesday mornings, which is so fun. This little one, I swear I got it. I think this came from the Goodwill, but this again is another 1800s piece. And I love to say it's a piece because then it feels really cool, but I'm sure it cost me $3. So I love to use old, beautiful antiques. This is silver. Yes, you can use silver. You can do all of the fun things. I'm gonna get a little ladle and dish us up. Look at this. On goes the cheese. Lots and lots of cheese. I like more cheese than average people. We're gonna move this over. I'm gonna share the stage with the bread. I'm gonna smear some butter with our cute silver spoon. And then we're gonna get into this. And this is like a necessity for me. If you like olive oil, do that. That's totally fine. Oh, but look, that's perfect. We have a little bit of butter ready to just dunk in. We gotta get a little bit of cheese on there. This is gonna be a big bite. Okay. I know I already said it, but this is so good. Way better than anything you get at the Olive Garden. And we cooked this in real time over the last 45 minutes. This tastes like it has been cooking for literally 3 or 4 hours. I am gonna pour the wine, I forgot. Gosh, this is the most beautiful label. Whose wine is this? Who designed this? This is French for water. It's called Le Délice, which is actually, it means the delight in French, which is so fun. It's a red blend. You can order it online on our website. But seriously, you guys, get with friends, get with family, make some soup, make sure you pack a mason jar for somebody that you love. And thank you for being a part of all things rustic, joyful food, where life is good today. So let's live it up. Let's drink it up and eat it up. I'll see you next time.